Hey everyone, welcome back to Paul's Model Works. So now that I've completed my 32 Ford, it is time for me to start another kit. And look through my stash, and this is what I came up with. This is a kit that I got back from our Secret Santa gift exchange last year. And so if you guys want to see an open box review of it, go back into my archives into December, and you'll see there that I did a review on the kit. But I decided to go ahead and build this thing. But since I'm starting a new kit, I thought this was a perfect time to share with you guys kind of my process that I go through in preparing the kit for paint and for building and just the first steps that I go through when I'm starting a new kit. So with that being said, these are the tools and things that I use to get a kit going. Now, this is a Tamiya kit, so it starts out pretty good to begin with. As far as mold lines go and flash and things like that, your Tamiya kits are really good. You run into a lot of mold line issues. You can get them in your Avail kits and stuff, but a lot of your like AMT kits that are older, just repops using the old tooling and stuff, they have a lot of flash and a lot of really heavy mold lines. That need to be removed before you can start actually painting and working on your model. So anyway, the first thing that you're going to want to do is all your kit pieces, obviously they come on trees, so you want to get those off of your trees. And a great tool for that is one of these little plastic snips here. The one side is flat so that you can get it right against your piece, and then you just snap it off of the tree, and it makes for a nice clean cut off of there. That way you don't have any little, nubs left on there, and then you got to come back with a sanding stick or your Exacto knife and try and get that off. It just kind of makes it nice and clean to begin with. And most of the time it does a great job. Secondly, you do need an Exacto knife. Sometimes you're going to run into parts that are going to be on the tree that you always can't get off with this, so you do need your Exacto knife for that. And then you got to clean flashing off and just little bits and pieces that, get on some of the kits, so your Exacto knife, again, is great for that. Now, once I've got all my stuff off, I don't always take everything off first, but usually I focus on the body, and a lot of times bodies have mold lines in them. This one, of course, being the Tamiya kit, doesn't have much, but it does have one that runs down the rear bumper here. It has one on both sides, and then on the front bumper, I noticed there's a very small one on either side as well. Usually the mold line you see it on the bumpers and flat areas, but then it usually follows like the hood line, the roof line, and then back down like that, and kind of runs off the back. That's usually where your mold lines follow on car kits. So what you want to do is get rid of that, because that stuff's going to show underneath your paint. And so that's one reason why I did want to make this, because I noticed that, it doesn't really matter, I guess. It's kind of up to each builder to their own, but sometimes I see builders that still leave the mold lines on their models, and if you're wanting to take your model to the next level and make it look a little bit more realistic or a little bit better, then I would suggest removing your mold lines. To do that, I just basically use sanding sticks. This is a set of 4 that you can get. They run from like an 80 grit all the way down to like a 240 grit. And start with your heavier grit that you need. Since this one, the mold lines are not that heavy, you really don't need to use the heaviest one, but just kind of sand your mold lines down. This is good for getting into small areas, working along little corners, good for getting into like the openings and stuff. You can use your smaller sanding sticks for that to clean up any flashing or uneven spots. And of course you can get these little ones like this. You can pick this stuff up at Hobby Lobby. I know carries most of these sanding supplies. And then I use sanding blocks as well, and this is just another set of 4 sanding blocks, 4 different grits. These are great for when you're wanting to like sand over a large area, or around a corner of your model, kind of on the back bumper like the corner. The reason why it's good is they have a little bit of a sponge to them, and so as you go over the corners, it kind of gives a little bit. And so it keeps the contours of your model as you're sanding and taking off the extra stuff that doesn't need to be there. Especially if you're using like a filler putty or anything, if you've got any divots in the plastic. And you've used, I use this Tamiya putty, but there's lots of other good putties that are out there. And so it might be from an injector point or something like that. You've got a divot in there. These are great for coming back and sanding over that because it follows the contours of the body really well. So I definitely recommend picking up a set of those sanding blocks. And then once you've done that, you've sanded it off, really the last thing I do before I put any primer on there is wash the body off in a warm soapy water. And what that does is it kind of gets rid of any of the residue from the dust of the plastic, but also as you handle your model and stuff like that, you're going to be putting fingerprints on it, and everybody has got greasy fingers. And once you get the grease onto your model, it can affect your paint job. It can make your primer coat not stick down in those areas. So you want to make sure you wash it off before you move on. And then you're ready to move on to your primer. And that's pretty much what I do to get a model ready. All of your smaller parts, same process really. Just check for mold lines that are going to be affecting, ones that you're going to see and things like that. And make sure you sand those ones off, and you should be good to go. So anyway, this is the kit that I'm going to be building next. It's the Tamiya Subaru Impreza WRC 2002, and I'm going to be doing it basically box stock. I may add a few details here and there to it, but for the most part it's going to be a box stock build, and should be interesting and fun. This is my first Tamiya kit, so I'm excited to actually completely build one. I've heard, and of course as everybody knows, so many good things about the Tamiya kits, so I'm excited to try it out. So anyway, that's it from me, guys. Keep building those awesome models, keep doing that great work, and like I always say, eat, sleep, styrene. I'll talk to y'all later.